The moment the last plank slid into place, my hands started shaking, not from the weight of the wood, but from the weight of everything that had led me there. I had come to build a bed, nothing more, nothing less. Yet in that quiet, sunlit room, with sawdust floating in the air like suspended memories, I felt my life hesitate on the edge of something I wasn't ready to name. If you believe that kindness can open doors you never expected, then pause here for a second, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Midnight Tales if you believe in second chances born from simple, honest acts. My name is Armin Hale, and I've always believed that building things was easier than understanding people. Would made sense to me. You measure, you cut, you fix mistakes with patience. People, on the other hand, carried cracks you couldn't see until you were already too deep. I learned that early, growing up without much money, watching my mother work herself thin just to keep us afloat. That's why, when my best friend Noah's mother, Maribel Cross, mentioned her old bed had finally collapsed, I offered to build her a new one without thinking twice. It felt natural, like breathing. She had raised Noah alone after his father passed, and kindness toward her felt like repaying a debt the world never settled. The house was filled with daylight the morning I arrived, sunlight pouring through wide windows and resting softly on half-finished furniture. Maribel's home carried the quiet dignity of someone who had learned to survive with grace. She was in her early 40s, strong in a way that came from endurance rather than ease, her presence calm but deeply felt. I kept my focus on the task, unloading tools, measuring beams, reminding myself I was there for one reason only. Still, every glance around the room told a story, family photos, worn books, signs of a life built carefully after loss. As I worked, memories kept rising uninvited. Noah and I had grown up together, brothers in all but blood. He trusted me, and that trust weighed heavily on my shoulders. I reminded myself over and over that boundaries mattered, that respect wasn't optional. Building the bed became my shield. Each joint I secured, each screw tightened, felt like an anchor pulling me back to what was right. The room smelled of fresh pine and afternoon warmth, and the rhythm of my work helped quiet the thoughts I didn't want to examine too closely. Maribel stayed nearby, not hovering, just present. She moved through the house with a gentle confidence, offering water, checking progress, giving me space. There was gratitude in her eyes, but also something deeper, loneliness softened by hope. I recognized it because I carried the same look without realizing it. Loss doesn't shout, it lingers quietly, waiting for moments like these to surface. Still, nothing crossed a line. Not yet. The world remained steady, held together by unspoken rules we both seemed to understand. By the time the bed was finished, daylight had shifted, casting long, golden shadows across the floor. The bed stood solid and simple, built to last, built with care. Pride warmed my chest, the honest kind that comes from doing something meaningful for someone else. I stepped back, wiping sweat from my hands, ready to pack up and leave. That's when the air changed. Maribel rested her hand on the frame, testing its strength, and leaned slightly closer, her voice lowering, her words soft enough to feel more than hear. She suggested experiencing the comfort of what I'd built, together, just for a moment. Time slowed. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. It wasn't desire that stopped me, it was responsibility. I wasn't ready, not for what that invitation meant, not for the consequences that would ripple far beyond that sunlit room. In that instant, every lesson my mother taught me, every promise I'd made to myself, stood between us. I felt torn between compassion and restraint, between the warmth of being seen and the strength of saying no without shame. I took a breath, grounding myself in the simplicity of the wood beneath my fingers, reminding myself why I was there in the first place. The silence stretched, but it wasn't awkward. It was honest. I chose to step back, offering kindness without crossing into something that couldn't be undone. Maribel understood. I could see it in her eyes, the acceptance, the respect, the quiet relief that boundaries had held. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't giving in to a moment, but protecting everyone involved from regret. The room felt lighter again, the tension dissolving like dust in sunlight. I left her house as the afternoon faded, carrying more than my tools. I carried clarity. In the days that followed, nothing dramatic happened. No secrets, no shattered trust. Instead, something better grew, mutual respect, deeper understanding, and the knowledge that kindness doesn't always need to turn into something else to be meaningful. Noah never knew the full weight of that day, and he didn't need to. Friendship, like craftsmanship, is about what you choose to reinforce quietly. Weeks later, Maribel sent a message thanking me again, not just for the bed, but for the dignity I showed her. That message stayed with me. It reminded me that second chances aren't always about romance or grand gestures. Sometimes they're about choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of a moment where restraint became a form of love, please take a second to like, share, and engage with this video. It truly helps these stories reach others who need them. And before we part, I have a special request. Comment below and share what kindness with boundaries means to you. Your words might be the encouragement someone else is searching for. I didn't leave the day with a story of passion, but with something far more lasting, self-respect, and the quiet peace that comes from doing the right thing when no one else is watching.